Well, hello, Randy. Good evening.
I love optimism.
Well, if you've got extra, keep sending it this way. Puppy training is cuckoo, but it'll be worth it when I'm done.
It's nice to have a goal, ever how unattainable it might seem.
Well, we're doing better. Today we had no accidents except just now when it doesn't matter. But we almost went a whole day,
Oh, there you go.
right? But it wasn't a number one or two accident. It was a regurgitation issue. So there you go. But like all good baby birds.
I
Right.
was I wasn't as responsive to training with my owners.
Really? Did you
Yeah.
pee on the carpet a lot or?
Nah, just kind of rebellion, you know.
Yeah,
Some,
I remember a story that you told. I mean, when you were a youngster, you decided was it jumping out a second story window was a good idea?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I measured it one time later as like 13, 14, 15 feet above the ground. And I thought it was cool to jump off the roof every day.
Yeah, see, you just did it because it was cool. There was a fella named Don Sabersula. May he rest in peace. My mom hired him to be a gardener for a part-time summer job up at the country house when she wanted to have this big garden, so he helped her with the big rocks and all that. Then he wandered back up the hill looking for his dog, but I wasn't 13 anymore. But yeah, Don, he was an interesting fella. Um, I just completely derailed myself. It doesn't matter about Don Sabrasula. I'll probably come back to it later because there's something else that's on my mind. Hey, Randy, I have a question.
Remove that weight. What is it?
2 episodes back, when I was asking about space weather having an effect on what happens on the Earth, you
Mhm.
said after what happened to the Earth, and then you said the sun changed color, but as we drifted around, I forgot to come back and ask you what happened to the Earth. And
What's happened or what's going to
well,
happen?
what happened to the Earth in the first place? You said after what happened to the Earth, something happened and the sun changed color. It went from yellow to white.
Correct.
So did the Earth get scared? Like,
Oh,
like
well, anytime you have an input of energy in excess of what you deal with normally, it becomes a period of adjustment. Okay. So the sun's the same way. We entered an area of space where the friction of our travel through that space has increased the amount of energy coming into the system, whether it's the sun or the earth or solar system or our own bodies. So it's not just the sun has changed, the earth has changed, and we are in a process of changing too. It's just that nobody's seen this for a long time. And so it's hard to evaluate until you can put a series of metrics on it that allow you to look backwards and say, oh, I grew up with a yellow sun. How do I know that? I used to lay out in the sun 8 hours a day when I was a kid. I'd go to the swimming pool and stay all day and didn't get sunburned. I got brown. Now I think if I laid out in the sun 8 hours, I'd probably turn either red or white.
you'd look
So,
like one of our sponsors. You'd look like a Cheeto.
ah, yeah, or even
A
worse.
red hot flaming Cheeto.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So to be out in direct sunlight, particularly between about 10 in the morning to about 6 in the evening right now, and our latitudes are is like horrible, right? It's the intensity of it has changed. You don't need a instrument to register that. You can ask anybody, especially construction critters. They're extremely aware that there's been a change. Okay.
You're talking about construction critters, ants and bees, or
Everything everything's being affected. It's just that the accumulation of those, we don't know what the outcome is. Like I said, we haven't seen it. So to say where we'll be, like let's say we're at 15 or 16 has a level of change in the electromagnetic strength of our environment. 2 years from now it'll be 35, and 5 years from now it'll be 100. In other words, there's like a fivefold increase in the stuff that's going to occur.
so that's kind of like a Richter scale, I feel like. So what's at a one is whatever, but then what's at a three is like 10 times worse than a one, and then what's at a six might be 50 times worse than what was at a three. That's
Right.
what it feels like when I'm hearing what you're saying. Um, like I grew up in an apartment in Manhattan, and in the wintertime when the heat would come on, there would be electric shocks, like static, and like you would touch stuff. So I can only imagine if that, right? If that is to an electric shock to what is my finger is to whatever friction's going on to the earth, like I just made a very bad ratio.
No,
Sorry.
that's a perfect analogy because the concept of static electricity is applicable or accurate with what we're doing. It generates, and you don't know how it discharges until you touch a piece of metal or another person or something. And guess what? They get a shock on their end, right? And we don't realize that we have just discharged a big amount of energy. Well, when the sun does that, who's the recipient? The earth.
The earth is the recipient, and then the solar, like there's a hole right now in the sun. And
Uh,
the flares and
yeah,
the solar wind,
yeah. Like I said, it's what's called
sandpaper.
metamorphic change. And so the Earth's reaction to it has been an increase in earthquakes because it has to dissipate the energy. And then that dissipates into the environment or into the humans, and then they'll have to dissipate. So,
Is that why all of these guys, like I don't want to bore the audience, but Richard Doty, whatever anybody wants to say about him, every once in a while I have these stream of consciousness things, and it's almost like I have to vomit it out. Well, it came out at him, and it was all about solar flares and this and that and the intensity, and what if there's one big giant whatever and it does something and whatever and the earth, and basically what you were saying, but I didn't have the vocabulary. I just had the feeling. But I hyper dictated. All he
right,
had to say was wow. So, but
yeah.
now this is why, so if the sun is going to change again, the people who are they know all about this stuff and don't tell the public because we'll freak out. So don't tell them, but dig a bunker so you'll be okay. Like this is I look very like Andrew Bustamante. I'm gonna leave the country by 2030. I have
Yeah,
to have more hair. Here, wait. Now I
yeah,
look like Andrew Bustamante. Wait, there,
yeah.
there.
Yeah, right.
Oh, we just have to braid it and like keep it tight after we wash your hair. We're gonna braid it and keep it in a braid for like 6 days, and then it'll come out like this.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
it'll be fun. No,
that.
seriously though, is the sun going to change color again? And is that to do with what everybody's saying? Ooh, 2027, something's going to happen.
Well, we could just take a look and see. So all color shifts are generally gradual. Like it's hard to go on this day it was yellow, on this day it was white. It's just something that like 8 or 9 years ago, the thing shifted. And I was aware of it, but didn't have language for what was going on. And so then we could say, well, when's the next shift? Remember, it keeps increasing in quantity. So probably the next color shift would occur in 14 years. So,
Okay.
but that would be a biggie. That would go to probably a blue white,
Is
right?
there going to be some kind of off gassing to make it not be one big giant thing that happens? Will that also be a gradual thing?
Um, yeah, it would occur over a period of about 19 years. So
So it's
we're
already
in like
started. It's already started changing from white to whatever's next.
we're we're like in say the ninth year of this shift that has occurred. And then I laugh, but you mentioned the bunkers. Anybody that goes into a bunker is like, you are crazy because you can't sustain life or civilization in any form by living in bunkers. I mean, notwithstanding Cappadocia and some other places in Turkey, many thousands of years ago, that might have experienced the same thing. There's all kinds of myths about it and stuff. The problem is any kind of preparation do is going to be insufficient to a large degree, which means there'll be people that survive it, not necessarily because of planning, just because of circumstances that they
Happy
can,
accidents,
yeah, yeah, or
right
living,
place, right time.
yeah, or people living on a certain latitude or longitude on the earth. It's like, that kind of predictability, I'm sure, they talk about AI and all this like NSA computers and how smart they are and their ability to extrapolate problems and solutions. It's just that they can't tell you where the Epstein list is and how many people are involved. You would
I don't
think
think they
that
could
kind
tell
of
you.
computer capacity, like, first of all, they show a list of 200 people. So let's go with what we call a first tranche, the first level. Number of people involved with Epstein was probably around 14,000. The number of people at a second level, which is all the people that service that industry. We're talking people that run modeling agencies and presidents and royalty and all that. Now you're up to about 80,000. And then you go to a third level tranche and you're going to incorporate suppliers and logistics for all that operation, which is the big banks and whoever. And if you tagged all of them now, you're up to about 315,000 people around the world. So good luck bringing all that to court. And of course, they don't have any knowledge of who those people are. So I call that a failure of intelligence, right? Those
A
supercomputers,
failure or a lack and a failure.
those supercomputers are definitely worthless, and so is the AI, because they can't even solve a simple problem like that, where we can come up with general answers and more specific if we wanted to look into it,
I
right?
wonder if we should ask AI how to get Waffle House, Cheetos, and Coors beer to
Yeah.
sponsor us, and then also ask AI how to get you to a White House dinner. Maybe it would know.
Yeah. And I don't know if on the menu currently is diet sodas and Big Macs. I mean, you can go look and see that like the pink sludge they make hamburgers out of at
I
McDonald's.
can't eat that. That's
Yeah,
nasty.
yeah. It's like, oh my goodness. And so if that information's out there and you still have millions of people every day going to McDonald's, it shows you that the information is basically useless or worthless. So back to Epstein thing, nothing ever come up. You can't drag 315,000 people to court and basically eviscerate the entire, world economies and governments, even though we would call that a start if we were so
Right.
inclined to think that way. So,
But see, this is it. It has everything to do with how everybody is thinking or not able to think out of the box. Like, get
yeah.
out of the box. The box is not your friend. Get out.
Well, none of this is meant to have a solution. If you go
Yeah,
back,
we get off the merry-go-round. Go
yeah,
do something else.
yeah.
Just
When you realize that, we're playing out Donald in the Den of Lions. I think they got that from a certain big thick book, and then you look at Epstein. It's like, well, Sodom and Gomorrah. Hello, I think they've been stealing. Really, I think they have been plagiarizing good books. We'll call it.
yeah, man, you've been
Creative
saying that.
stories. Huh?
You've been saying that.
Yeah, yeah. I think they need new writers. I think they should hire us.
They could
And maybe
hire
that would,
us.
yeah, and maybe that would get us into the White House and certainly draw their attention more than South Park or North Park
I
or
don't
what.
know. Maybe we should have East Coast Park.
And on that subject, I have decided, since I was left alone and unsupervised this weekend, that I have come up with a name and an idea for a church. I always wanted to start one when I was younger, and I call it the Church of Soul. And are you ready for this? The sacrament is one shot of tequila and 1 hour of soul music from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. How's that?
Do I have to have tequila? Can I just?
And dancing is allowed.
That's good. Dancing is always good. Laughing is better. Starting my day laughing and dancing. It's
Yeah,
it's
now that may be a little bit of cultural appropriation, but
is
I'm
it?
willing to go with it. All right. So the
I'm
Church of
sorry.
Soul is available should people want to join in. Okay.
Did you hear that, Nakoma? She's out. She's tired now. She could care less. All right. Well, the stuff that's going on with the sun, she keeps coming back. How does that relate to, like, how many, and please excuse my ignorance or my being rude if I'm asking inappropriately. Is the next shaking of the earth like about to happen? Does that have to do with the sun changing color?
Hmm? Well, it's just an outcome of excess energy,
Again, we're back to that. Okay.
which directly relates to my Church of Soul. See, people could come there and dance and get rid of their excess energy, right? In a state of ecstasy, because tequila provides that if you take just one shot. People aren't allowed to have two because that gets a little too frisky, right?
Well,
And
yeah,
they need to go home afterwards. That's why it's limited to 1 hour. I mean, we got to
one
have,
hour and one shot.
yeah, that's
That,
why that's our motto.
that's it, and that's
One
all.
shot in 1 hour. Yeah. And so if we had a tequila sponsor, see, now we could really do some business. So,
I think the CIA should sponsor us, and we should be the only CIA sponsored show that doesn't talk smack and not tell the truth. Um, yeah,
and no salvation theology would be allowed in the building. So there you go.
okay.
Right. So shaky, shaky, shake it in the church or shake it in the land and watch the land. I mean, they're not reporting too much on how vibratory Japan is right now, the land in
There's
Japan.
one young man who will not shut up about it. His name is Stefan Burns,
Yeah.
Stefan, and he actually is friends. or YouTube just for looks, but I think they're actually friends with an astrologer from the UK called Pamela Gregory, who's
Yeah.
pretty accurate. They're very interesting. They don't report the same way a lot of other people do, and I find it interesting. He will oftentimes end his live streams with meditations and with his tuning fork or with his singing bowl. And, he has a dream meditation that, you think about the earth and how you're connected, the whole thing. He's a good little soldier. I like him.
With that many tools at his disposal, we would anticipate great results.
Well, he seems like a very happy young man who's not stressed out or bothered by much. So if that's a testament to how he lives, I mean, who knows what's happening when the camera's not on? He could be having a.
Right. Well, the same vibratory effect is going on in Yellowstone.
You
Right?
were saying about that.
Yeah.
What were
And
you, come on, what was your prediction? Are you going to
water,
say it? Do you want to say it out loud?
yeah,
Don't go to Yellowstone right around when?
the
Soon?
29th of next month. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's like 8 other places on the planet that are responding. That's the other thing, is the sun is responding, passes off the energy to the earth responds, passes off to the animals and the humans, and then we respond, and nobody knows what that looks like. So,
Well, I think, the Earth knows what that looks like because she's gone through this before.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I guess we can't really say no one.
yeah,
She does. The solar system in which we live has gone through massive shifts of energy before. Um, so I mean, maybe it doesn't know exactly what's up, but it's had something similar,
yeah.
you know.
Like one of those songs that would be played in our church is the Chambers Brothers wrote a song called People Get Ready, There's a Train a Coming, right? You don't need a ticket, you just get on board. That's the language, okay?
It's a
Well, we
great.
got on board a ticket to this train, and you don't get to pick where it goes. You just have to ride along, okay?
There's
And
something that's very soothing about that idea, though, because then you don't have to be controlling everything. You just
that's
control
right.
yourself while you're on the ride.
Yeah, they talk about surrender. So I think our church services should be on a Saturday night, not to conflict with certain other religious organizations, because they use Saturday morning. See, so we got a clear window of when we could do this.
Well, why does it have to be a weekend? Maybe we should just do it like Tuesdays,
Um,
midweek church.
that might be a rough Wednesday after
Well,
that.
it might be a harder hump day than it was before.
Yeah.
You know,
And the thing about I did this in high school. I did it
uh-oh.
2 or 3 times a week. We would go to dances all over the freaking state.
La 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 la. What? Is this getting inappropriate? What are you going to tell me?
No, no,
People
it's
are
just
listening.
we would go to what did they call them? They would just bring in bands.
Socials?
Yeah, they would bring in bands and have these dances like it literally in county halls and just all kinds of places. And it was a relief valve for youth. How's that?
Well, that's before they needed crystal meth and doom scrolling
Oh yeah, there was none of that. Right,
because they weren't stressing everybody out. Like
right.
they really tweaked everything up like so many notches. It's sad that people don't realize what's happened,
Yeah,
on the one hand. Um,
just like another song. We just wanted to get physical.
Olivia Newton-John, more rest in peace. Oh man. Well, oh, that's what Don Sabersula was. After I grew up and looked pretty, he decided he was going to come over and we were going to something. And then my mom heard a little noise or whatever, and she asked if there was a boy in the room, and I said no, and then she heard more scuffling, and I heard her go downstairs, and she came up with a hammer, and he jumped off the second story window, off the roof, and I don't know how many feet, but I know the lady who owns the house, so now I want to go back and measure it. I knew I would figure out why I started talking, but because my mom chased him off the roof of my with a hammer.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you shared that because I have never had any experiences of having to leave a room at night and exit a porch or second story window or anything like
So-
that. So I'm glad you shared
Right, because now we know which Randy is the extra Randy feisty one.
that. Or which one's lying.
Oh, the real Randy, please stand up. Oh, don't do it. So, I feel like, okay, I keep circling back. The people who keep talking about 5D, 4D, Bashar, like all these channelers and that stuff, the, maybe they're all talking about the same thing, but they don't have the correct vocabulary.
Well,
Is it possible that they're discussing the same basic idea, but have gone perverted with the vocabulary to make a buck?
well, we're in a period of forced evolution, even though I hate that word. And what that means is that the human body was never meant to accommodate this level of electromagnetic frequencies and intensity that we find ourselves in now. So we're not. And normally it would take 3 to 5 generations to get to where there was some sort of tolerance or acceptance of this kind of energy flow without allowing for the changes that would be made in our brainwave activity and neurological responses to our environment. I mean, there's some big problems out there that, since they're so subtle and go so slow, even though they're going 1,000 times faster now, that we don't know the answers to. I mean, I've tried to look ahead and look into this, and the idea. I'll give you an example. Even years ago, when I built the house I'm in, I put 2 layers of foil in the attic, foil insulation,
Is that
because
kind of like a giant tinfoil hat, but for your
yeah,
house?
because I anticipated there would be an increase in, you know, energy coming through the roof and into the home. So
Well, you were correct, sir.
yeah, so maybe we all need a foil suit like Talking Heads or one of them used to wear.
Maybe
Yeah,
David Byrne was right.
yeah,
Or maybe it was Devo. Was it Devo? We are not men. We are
wow.
Devo. Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh. Um, I have to find a thought that was roaming around.
Don't hurt yourself.
No, I'm trying not to. In a meditation one time, like
What?
I was doing some deep breathing, and I had the sense of feeling very comfortable getting folded into the earth, but it wasn't like being buried or anything. It was like being folded into another maybe dimension, maybe different realms, time, space. I don't know. I had some kind of a strange experience. And I know there's a lot of myth about ant people, I guess. And do you think that there's a correlation to something that's in physicality today and still functioning culturally, um, that would be described as the ant people, or as
Yes. Sometimes people ask you, what do you want to do? I told a film producer out in California that I have a film I'd like to produce, and it's on Hopi and Navajo mythology. and it's about the Kachinas or gods or and people. It's about this whole population of the universe that they've held on to for thousands of years that we automatically discount because we can't see it. So it's back to that zero reality. There's more stuff going on over there than anybody can imagine. It's just that the Hopis and Navajos and some of the other tribes have kept track of it. The Zunis, I mean, I go down a whole list. And and it's like the validity of their reality as they describe what was passed on through history is probably more substantial than what we have about human history on the English side, we'll call it. So, so those kind of things existed. The question is, do they still exist? And unfortunately, that takes a certain state of mind, which might not be able to be attained without some help, we'll call it.
Well, that's probably because the
And
electromagnetic frequencies between that and the way the social engineering has jacked the species up. I mean, it's really hard to get past all of that to get to the point where you can actually have these discussions and ponder these things.
oh yeah, but if
Um,
you take predictive programming to its end, you would go, why did we start having movies about zombies back in the 50s and 60s?
why is there a document from the government that tells everybody what to do in case of a zombie attack?
Right. And well, and then you go, well, what would produce that? And they go, a virus. And then the second thing that would do it would be to overload the DNA receptors to the point that they produce a significant change in form over a short period of time. And they call that a mutation. And
Oh,
so,
that's where my thought was going. Chernobyl. After Chernobyl happened, a lot of animals and human beings adapted and then now like can't live without the radiation because they crave it. So
yeah,
that was a pretty short, like that was one generation, wasn't it? I mean,
yes. And so think about it if you had an intergenerational change, if you had change that occurred over days, weeks, months, or a few years, what kind of planetary society would you end up with? And the answer is a pretty scary one. And all we got to do is go back to those movies to see what it would look like. Okay. You know, there's a studies that have been done on cannibals, and there appears to be a prion infestation in the brain, and there may have been some sort of event that would have changed their thinking, we'll call it, let alone the way they look.
well, look,
So,
doesn't rabies do that? Like you have a nice animal, and then if you don't treat rabies, it changes their thinking and it makes them crazy and foamy. So, like, it's the same kind
right,
of idea, right?
right, yes. And uh, what's funny is I helped years ago write a paper, world paper, that we presented to the WHO on rabies and what we could do to educate people on it. I might have to revive that thing and make it for how we deal with zombieism when it shows up.
Do you
Other
think
than in
that's
so,
actually going to happen?
yeah, uh-oh, wore himself out. Right.
She's dreaming.
Uh-oh, dreaming off in the ether.
She's doing something.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
boy.
What do
Yes.
you think of our mascot? I guess she could be our mascot because she doesn't really want to leave my side much.
Yeah.
Pack animals, they do that.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's gives a pretty good idea of where we're headed and what we're experiencing. And in the meantime, we get this nice comedy show, Donald in the Den of Lions, right? Epstein and Sodom and Gomorrah, which just happened to be located in Israel.
Of course.
You imagine that?
Well,
Like,
then there's
what
also
a
Nicole
setting.
Lammy. We could have lamb chop. I think maybe lamb chop wants to run for president.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
she wants to be JD Vance's vice president because if Trump's legs explode before Christmas, then they're going to need somebody.
You got to ask yourself, is JD Vance too pretty to be a politician?
I don't know. He's kind of got them blue, sparkly blue eyes.
Yeah. I mean, is he too handsome to be president? I mean, my mother, when I asked her, like, who are you voting for in the election when I was about 18, she goes, the pretty one.
That's,
So I thought that was appropriate. Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, you know what, you guys, don't forget to vote for the pretty one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. There you
Right
go.
now, it's just the Bustamante thing is like too much.
Okay, so now you have a whole new set of problems to worry about. You can throw away all your old problems. You can throw away Hillary and, Obama, Trump, pre-Trump, second Trump. You can just place them all in a little box. How's that?
Pandora's box.
I didn't say anything about performing ritual magic on that box. I just said you could put them in a box.
I didn't say you said, I said. I can say stuff. I can say stuff, Randy.
Yeah. It's
All right. I
wish
think
everybody happy birthday on the planet.
there you go.
That's a
Happy,
good ritual, by the way. Fire, candles, right? Chants, right?
you know, I like meditations and I like doing this. It's fun. Now,
Uh,
now I'm as tall as you are now.
yeah.
Now we're even.
Well, I can definitely say I'll need to, I mean, I will pray for you tonight. And I think that we pretty well covered today.
I think so. All
All
right.
right.
Well, I think I quit. I'm done. The puppy's
Okay.
trying to train me and it's not working.
And then if you wanted to have a mystery, what what the hell are they doing in Bulgaria?
I don't know. What are they doing in
Oh,
Bulgaria?
I'm sorry. That's at least 5 weeks away before it becomes a subject. Okay.
Oh, well, I wonder if
We're
Melania will have something.
ahead of ourselves a little bit. All right.
Melania goes to Bulgaria.
Something.
She's
Oh,
gonna start something over there.
all right. Bye.
Goodbye.